What's up, guys? Welcome back to Tech Talk Kids Different with me, Keisha.
And I'm Marsha.
Today, we're talking about email. And I'm not alone because the amazing Chacha is here with me.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Jessa. Honestly, when you asked me to talk about email, I immediately thought of my college assignment. But nowadays, if you don't have an email, it's like you don't have an identifier of the internet, right?
Totally want to create social media, play games, or shop online. They always ask for your email. Before email, people had to wait for days to send letters through regular post. That's why people call it snail mail
Uh,
because it was so slow.
a snail email that is true. Email was lifesaver when it first came out instant and fast. But nowadays, email itself feels a bit slow compared to instant messaging apps like WhatsApp. Don't you think?
Spot on, but email is not that chat. Its role has just shifted. Today, email is specifically for formal things like college registration, security verification, and professional communication at work, right? And science email is for official communication. The system behind it is actually very well organized. How does it work behind the scenes?
To keep it simple, it works like a digital post office. When you type a message on your email app, call it the user agent. Your message is passed to a transport agent to, to be carried across the internet.
Also, it goes through a digital courier first.
Yes, then this courier drops your email is at a mail server, which act like a central post office. This server checks the security and sort the mail. After that, your message is stored safely in the recipient's digital mailbox. Call it the system mailbox until they open it.
Oh, no wonder email is perfect for important documents because it stays safely on the mail server. Our message won't get lost even if we change our phones. Science email is for formal things. We can just write it like a WhatsApp chat, sending just the letter P or leaving the email body blank. Email has its own rules, right? Jack?
Absolutely. Sending us a segment with a blank email body is a hook red flag. An email must have the three main parts: header, message body, and signature.
What is the most crucial part in the header?
The subject line or the title. People really on this to know if the email is urgent. If you leave it blank, it might be ignored or marked as spam.
Agreed. What about the CC and DCC options in the header?
CC is carbon copy, used to send a copy to someone just for information. BCC is blind carbon copy, the secret mode. The person in BCC can read the email, but the main recipient will never know it's read for privacy.
Secret mode. I like that. And after the header, We'll have the message body for our main text and attachment, and finally the signature for our contact info.
Thank you. Exactly. Wow, see, time flies. Discussing email like this is actually pretty fun and simple.
True. Hopefully, this can help our friends with their assignments too. Okay, I think our time is up. Thank you, Chacha.
Thank you, Chesa. Good luck with our video project. Let's get that grade.
I mean, goodbye, everyone.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast today. We're going to dip into a super exciting topic. Have you ever realized that our modern lives are completely driven by this one thing? Yeah, we really think about how it actually works. Uh, yeah, today we're talking all about computer networks. To make things even more exciting, I'm here with my awesome friend, Jessa. How it's going, Jess?
Hi, Cha. I'm doing great. Honestly, I was so pumped when you asked me to talk about this. If you think about it, we use computer networks every single second. Whether we're on WhatsApp, streaming videos, or just scrolling through social media, networks are everywhere, but for most people, they feel invisible and just work seamlessly behind the scenes.
Right, exactly. Data just gets sent in the blink of an eye. So, to kick things off, how would you explain computer network to someone who is total beginner and doesn't know any tech jargon?
Simply put, a computer network is a collection of devices like computers, phones, or servers that are connected to each other. The main goal is to communicate, exchange data, and share resources. If our computer isn't connected to a network, it's completely isolated. We can only access data that's already stored in the device, internal memory, or hard drive. But once it's connected, our computer can swap information with millions of other devices all over the world.
Got it. So it's basically about thinking device together so they can talk to each other and share data. But behind the scene, what component actually make this whole network function?
Broadly speaking, a network needs a combination of hardware and software. On the hardware side, you have the sending and receiving device, which we call nodes, and then you have the connectors like WAN cables, routers, switches, or wireless signals like Wi-Fi. The router job is super crucial because it reads the destination address and directs the data packets along the right path. Now, on the software side, we have the what's called a protocol like TCP or IP. A protocol is a set of formal rules agreed upon by all devices on how to send and receive data. Without protocols, the data being sent would be a total mess, and other devices won't be able to read the information.
Oh, I see. So the router directs the data, and the protocol is like the language rules, so the computer can understand each other. Moving on, I know there are different type of network based on their geographic side, like LAN and WAN. What's the difference between them?
The difference is all in the geographic scale. Cha. Uh, a LAN or local area network is a small localized network. Think a single home, a classroom, or an office building. Since the devices are close together, data transfer speeds can be super fast, and security is easier to control privately. On the flip side, you have a WAN or wide area network. WAN is a large scale network that connects multiple LAN across different cities, countries, or even continents. The biggest example of a WAN is the internet itself. So we need LAN for efficiency locally and when so to stay connected globally.
Wow, that makes total sense. LAN is for local, one is for global. But hey, if all devices worldwide are interconnected, cybersecurity must be a massive challenge, right?
Spot on, Cha, because the fundamental purpose of a network is to open up access for sharing data. It naturally leaves the system vulnerable to cyber attacks, data leaks, or malware. That's why network security is absolutely vital. Systems are typically protected using firewalls to filter and restrict subscription traffic, along with encryption, which is a method of scrambling data during transmission. That's why, even if the data gets intercepted along the way, hackers won't be able to read or make sense of it.
So the protection really needs to be solid and to keep data safe. Last question. What do you think the future of computer network looks like with the rise of 5G and cloud computing?
We are heading toward an era of total automation and hyperconnectivity thanks to 5G and IoT or Internet of Things technology. It won't just be phones or computer connecting to the networks anymore. Public facilities, vehicles, and even household appliances will automatically exchange data. As a result, future networks will need a massive bandwidth capacity to instantly transmit huge amounts of data with near zero delay or latency. This means will become even more dependent on a stable internet connection.
Totally agree. Everything is bound to go completely digital. Anyway, Tessa, thanks a lot for helping break down the concept of computer network today. Our chat was a real eye opener about what goes on behind the scene of our digital world. Thank you. See you.